biggest dogs in this round going back, 30 plus years, Eddie. How surprised are you that the Canadiens won it in the fashion in which they did?
Well, I mean, I think there's a lot to uncover there, Mitch, but I think at the end of the day, Carey Price in goal and the size and the heaviness of the Montreal Canadiens defense ended up being the difference maker in the series. I don't think there's any doubt. And for Vegas, they just couldn't get inside consistently, and it just wasn't comfortable for them. They weren't generating a heck of a lot of offense. The defensive scheme for Montreal of really, I don't want to say eliminating the defense for Vegas, but they're the facilitators, they're the igniters, and usually when something good's going to happen offensively, or when it does happen for them, that being Vegas, it all starts with the defense. And I'm not talking about scoring goals. I'm just talking about the outlet passes. I'm talking about turning 2-on-2s into 3-on-2s. And look, at the end of the day, I felt the reason I like Colorado more than I like Vegas, and I think that's when I was in studio with you a couple of weeks ago, I had made mention, I thought the difference between the two teams was the center ice position. And once Vegas lost Chandler Stevenson for a couple of games, it became apparent that, they are thin at the center ice position. And that's something that, look, if they want to win a Stanley Cup, they got to go out and get a center iceman. They are just razor thin there. And the young center iceman in Montreal outplayed the third and fourth line center iceman that were playing up and down the lineup for Vegas. So at the end of the day, I thought Carey Price and, the Vegas just not able to score like they did in the prior series. And I think it was just the heaviness and the bigness and how tough Montreal's defense played. And one last thing, watching the series from afar, I said this before Game 5. I thought that Pete DeBoer should have went with Robin Lehner in Game 5. He did not. I'm not saying that's why they ended up losing the series, but you had a guy that go in, win a must-win game in Game 4 in Montreal. He did that. I thought he was the first star of the game. You don't go back to him. You lose like you do, and then you put him back in a spot, last night. And again, look, it's overtime. It's one shot, and you just never know what happens. So be really interesting to see what happens there, but give Montreal full credit. 18th overall in the entire National Hockey League point-wise in the regular season. They played in the Northern Division, down 3-1 at Toronto. And here they are going to the Stanley Cup final. It's just an amazing story. So, look, you get in, you never know, and that's exactly what's happened with the Habs.
Mm-hmm. I know a lot of bettors in Vegas who underestimated the Montreal Canadiens, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Eddie, you just referenced it. I was going to ask you briefly about how Pete DeBoer handled his goaltenders. Did you agree with the initial decision to go with Robin Lehner instead of Fleury in Game 4, and then would you have just stuck with Lehner the rest of the series? Is that what you were saying?
100%. 100%. Yeah, I thought after Fleury losing, 2 in a row, you got to go to Lehner. You got to change it up. He's a guy that you traded for. You gave up a first-round pick. You gave him a 5-year deal, and yeah, he had shoulder surgery and had some injuries and hadn't played a whole heck of a lot. But the guy's a really, really good goaltender, and that's why you're paying 2 goaltenders, and it's not ideal in a salary cap world to be paying 2 goaltenders, I think, $12 million. I mean,
right.
You like to allocate, $3, $4, $5 million to the center ice position or another area to be able to score goals or whatever. But yeah, I thought after Game 3, we talked about it. Actually, we were teasing it on our, I think, on one of our games on USA Network about, who would you play in goal, and I thought, look, play Lehner, and if he wins, you got to. I thought he would come back with him. I did. Look, I stood behind a bench in the National Hockey League as a coach back in the early 2000s in Pittsburgh, and it's not an easy decision, but I think it's one of those where look, you got 2 capable goaltenders, but MarcAndreFleury, look, he had lost a couple of games. You give the net to Lehner and not able to you win Game 4, and then he makes the change. So. Yeah, there's no Monday morning quarterback here. I thought that he should stay with Lehner. He did it, and then I thought for sure he would go with him last night, and I don't think they lost because of the goaltending last night.
No, I don't either. I don't want to belabor the point on the goaltenders, but I'll ask you this just before we bury the Golden Knights and move on here. MarcAndreFleury's been the face of the franchise for the past 4 years. He went to a Cup final, 2 conference finals. Do you think he's back with the team next season? And what happened to Mark Stone in this series against Montreal? Mark Stone got skunked. He didn't score a point.
Yeah, I think for Stone, I don't think that there's any doubt that, look at it's much different than it is in football, and of disclosing injuries or what have you. I mean, it's just always been kind of the MO, Matt, in the National Hockey League, where just everybody's, if you play, there's no excuses and there's nothing. You're not given an injury report, a day or two before. I don't think there's any doubt Mark Stone was banged up. I'll just leave it at that.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I go to the center ice position. Like, look, you need somebody to be able to distribute and be a facilitator for a guy like Stone or Pacioretty. I mean, they can't do everything themselves. So now that leads to the next part. If I'm involved with Vegas, can they go in the next season with both MarcAndreFleury and Robin Lehner in goal if they really feel like they have a legitimate chance to win a Stanley Cup? And I think the answer to that is no. You have to allocate those funds for half the position to the center ice position, and we'll see what ends up happening. So I think anything's on the board if you're Bill Foley, the owner of Vegas Golden Knights, and Kelly McCrimmon and George McPhee. But at the end of the day, they came up short again, and they got to take a deep dive here and figure it out. But I don't think that you can have that much money in goal, because every night there's always somebody that's sitting on the bench that isn't able